Happy Friday the 13th, clean freaks and filthy friends alike. Filthy Dan coming at you for the giant Friday the 13th ranking video. This is going to be just like the series that we just got done reviewing. A giant effort that is being put out by most everyone who has done the review series. We've got Good Real Hunting, Nic Cooling, Robby at Reviews and Rankings with Robby Sobel, and Chase at Moser Movie Reviews. House of the Living Dead may be doing a ranking. I'm not 100% sure. But be sure to check in over at the Camp Blood Media, Josh's channel tonight. There's going to be a lot of us over there doing a live ranking where we're going to average these bad boys out and see what is truly the definitive scientific ranking, not just our damn opinions. There will be science for that. Also, check out the Friday the 13th award show over at J-Man's Movie Cave. That's going to be essentially like the Academy Awards in a way, but strictly Friday the 13th. So there's going to be a fuck ton of Friday the 13th stuff going on. I'm going to try to have all this stuff down in the description box below, links to everything. Of course, the ranking videos that everyone's doing, the award show, the giant scientific ranking, all that fun stuff's going to be down below. And, of course, the link to the giant Friday the 13th playlist will also be below. And before we get this going properly, though, I just want to display here for you guys my ranking of the series going into the films. So before we started reviewing them, this right here is how I had them. Let's take a look and see how my thoughts and placements of these films have changed over the past few weeks. Maybe some moved, maybe some went up, maybe some went down. Let's take a look, guys, at the current updated filthy ranking of Friday the 13th. Now, as you all know, there are 11 films in the franchise proper, plus the spin-off, Freddy vs. Jason, which I didn't review for the series, but I'm probably going to throw a review out for this one after, because I did already review that one when I covered the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. But I feel that it's only going to be right to take on Freddy vs. Jason one more time in this franchise. That's going to be in my personal Friday the 13th playlist if y'all decide to check that out. But I felt it would only be right to re-review that one because I had a completely different format, completely different presentation style when I did Nightmare on Elm Street. And my thoughts may have changed just a little bit on Freddy vs. Jason. And I also would need to look at it as a Friday the 13th film as opposed to a Nightmare on Elm Street film, which is really what I consider it to be at the end of the day. So that will be in this ranking. I don't know who else is going to throw it in their ranking, but I am ranking all 12 films, not just the 11 Friday the 13th films. Anyway, you guys know my thoughts on most of these films. Let's see how they pair together in the ranking. Well, starting in at the bottom of the barrel, number 12, you guys probably won't be too surprised by this. It's going to be Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. A film that you guys know I find to be a boring watch. It suffered so much MPAA interference that it really made it into a glorified TV movie with an R rating. It has boring characters, a very questionable writing. I'm not saying that I could have wrote a better film. Maybe I could have, maybe not. But Friday the 13th, Part 7 just doesn't do a lot for me. It's not watched by me unless I'm marathoning the series like I did over this last couple months, few weeks, what have you. But there's things that I do enjoy about the film. Let's not get that totally confused. I like the way Kane Hodder looks in the film. I like the potential that these kills had going on for it. I think if not for the relatively salvaged cuts of the extended death scenes and whatnot, I think I would try to find a way to cheat and not even include this in the ranking. But it does some things right, but not enough to bring it anywhere past number 12. Our runner-up for worst Friday the 13th film, this one should also be not much of a surprise for anybody. That's going to be Jason X. Now, while I have fun with this film, and while it was the first Friday the 13th film that I ever saw, it does so much wrong that I can't bear to put it any higher than this. Sure, I have a good time with it. And honestly, going forward, I don't really hate any of these films. They just become more frustrating to some level, or become less frustrating as we go along. Jason X, of course, was just a way to keep money coming into New Line for this property, to keep Jason relevant before he goes and fights Freddy. It's a fun, stupid watch that if you separate from the franchise, you can have some sort of entertainment out of it. But as a Friday the 13th film, no. It just doesn't do anything right. It's an awful Friday the 13th film, but it's a fun, campy, sci-fi B-movie. That's, I think, the nicest thing I could say about Jason X at number 11. Cracking its way into the top 10, we have Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday the 13th, Part 8. This one, I think, was probably one of the best in terms of concept. That's debatable, I'm sure. But I really like the idea of Jason on a boat. I prefer the boat stuff to the Manhattan stuff, as I said in the review. It's a film that, again, had some MPAA slicing going on with it. But it only gets higher than the New Blood because it has a more... I felt it was a more unique approach that they were trying to take with Jason Takes Manhattan. Of course, putting him in New York City, that didn't work out too well. But we got him on a boat, which is different enough to really keep my attention and curiosity. The New York stuff is fine for what it is, but it's the stuff on the boat, I think, that really makes the movie. If you found some way to cut out New York entirely, extend some of the boat stuff, and give Jason a fitting end on the boat, fuck, man, we could have had a pretty solid Friday the 13th film. Or you could have given Rob Hedden the budget to properly film this in Manhattan. Just saying, Paramount. And this is a film that also could have been higher up. Sure, it still would have been goofy as hell, but Jason Takes Manhattan manages to crack the top 10 by a nut hair. Now, coming in at number 9, we have the spin-off, The Fight of the Century. Fuck Holyfield versus Tyson, man. It's all about that. Freddy versus Jason. Coming in number 9. That's a film I remember being insanely hyped for. I had already been a Freddy fan. Was just starting to get really into Friday the 13th. It made sense that this film came out when it did. I mean, it was like, I already love Freddy. I'm starting to like this Jason cat. So this movie comes out like right at the right time for me. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I really enjoy it for what it is, but I think it makes Jason out to not be the badass that he should have been. Of course, there's recasting issues with Ken Kersinger in the place of Kane Hodder. And again, where Kane's not my favorite Jason, I still feel that he was done absolutely fucking wrong by New Line on that one. But it's a film that I could have fun with. Narratively, it works a whole lot better as a Nightmare on Elm Street film because taking place mostly in Springwood, having a very Freddy-centric plot, it just doesn't work as a Friday the 13th film. It's like Nightmare on Elm Street featuring Jason Voorhees. That's really all it is. So that's the only reason why it's not higher in this ranking. It's not a Friday the 13th film per se, so it doesn't really, get a whole lot going on in that regard. It's just not enough of a Friday film to get any higher than this spot. Coming in at number 8 is the one that started it all, and I know this is kind of the common thing among most Friday the 13th rankings that I have seen. For the original Friday the 13th to not be in first place like you would get in something like Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street even, this is one that is just a real middle-of-the-road slasher. It's a middle-of-the-road early slasher, but it is important as hell in that it spawned a franchise. It was one of the first slashers to really do that. Of course, we all know who the real king is on that, Halloween. But yeah, Friday the 13th is good enough for what it is. I found myself enjoying it a lot more on this last round that we did for the summer special. But it's just still, it suffers a lot like Part 7 does in that it's just too slow. Its pacing is really wrong. I think if the pacing had been corrected just a little bit, had the twist been executed just a little more sharply, by that I mean actually including Betsy Palmer into the fucking movie before it's time to say, hey, this is a character, Mrs. Voorhees. Oh, by the way, she's the killer. That doesn't really make it that much of a payoff. So I think had that been executed a little more properly, we could have seen Friday the 13th from 1980 going a few spots up in this list, but I think in accordance to my old list, this one might have moved up just a little bit or might be in the same spot. But Friday the 13th, 1980 takes home the number 8 spot. What can you do? This might be the shocker of the evening, afternoon, morning, whenever you all are watching this. That's going to be Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah, watching it with a more critical eye, it's one that didn't fare as well as I would have liked it to. You guys know that I generally have this one in higher regard. Those of you who saw the watch party kind of saw me crumbling a little bit as the film was going on. Like, oh my god, I'm witnessing a piece of shit. My review for it hasn't come out yet, so you guys don't know exactly how I feel yet. Hopefully before too long that will be out. I'm actually putting my nose to the grindstone on that one. But it's another one of those that kind of works better as a standalone, which I find was really the whole thing with the New Line era, being Freddy vs. Jason and Jason X. Those kind of serve better as their little one-off sidescape story, whatever. And Jason Goes to Hell is no different in that regard. Sure, it's a lot of fun with the gore that we get, the way it changes the story. It has good things about it. It's a lot of fun, I find, still. It's one that I still love. Don't let the seventh place spot fool you. I still adore Jason Goes to Hell, but it's not that golden child that I used to address it as anymore. But Jason Goes to Hell comes in number 7. I still have fun with it. Coming in at number 6, this is the one that I think moves around a little more frequently than most. It's the remake, Reboot from 2009. It's just an average Friday the 13th film. It's really a glorified greatest hits version of the first 4 films. It doesn't have a whole lot new to bring to the table, but it's entertaining enough. That's really all I have to say about Friday the 13th Reboot. I have fun with it. It's one that I like less, I think, every time I watch it, but I still enjoy it. Still enjoy it quite a bit, but my liking for it tends to dissipate every time I watch it. But every now and again, there's something that sparks right for it, where it's like, I think it's great, but still it winds up sinking just a little bit. Coming in at number 5, this one probably should win like a little mini award within the ranking for most improved placement. That is Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. I still don't get to watch the 3D version, but anyway, number 5 for Friday the 13th Part 3. It's the one that really sort of set the groundwork for the way the franchise was going to be presented going forward, with the hockey mask. Of course, Jason's inability to fucking die and stay dead. We get all that in this one. It does still have some pacing issues with that said, but there is something about it that has a real magic charm to it, and it is still one of the earliest Friday the 13th films that I ever saw. So it does have that bit of legacy point going on in its corner. But I really found myself appreciating it a lot more going back and watching it for the review series. I had a great deal of fun with Friday the 13th Part 3, but it's still not one that I go back to like, I must watch Friday the 13th Part 3. I think it has higher chances of staying this high if I don't go back and rewatch it so frequently. But number 5, man, for part 3. Coming in at number 4. This is one that is going to either A, piss a lot of people off, or B, piss everybody off. That's going to be coming in at number 4, Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. I love this film. I think if there's a Friday the 13th film that was made just for me, just hand-built, made for me, it is Friday the 13th Part 5. It's got the smut, it's got the kills. Sure, the kills are a little censored, but hey, there's fucking 20 of them or so. So you can't really fucking go wrong with that. I love it. It's a lot of fun to be had with Friday the 13th Part 5. I think it takes the idea that you get in the first film. It does that, but it does it in a way that is not miles and away better, but it's a sort of an improvement upon what we get going on as far as like the twist goes and whatnot. It actually makes some sort of effort, but still the ball is dropped ultimately. But it's one that I have probably the most fun with. Yeah, looking at the stack here, it's the one I have the most fun with overall. I mean, you've got the singing bit with "Ooh baby, ooh baby." You got that. You've got the fucking candy bar kill, which is a lot of fun. The Hubbards. I mean, this film does not piss me off at all. I know some people find it annoying and absurd and just unwatchable. Whatever. Friday the 13th Part 5 is like the jewel in the crown. I love it. That's why Friday the 13th Part 5 is at number 4. Now, through process of elimination, I'm sure you guys have been able to crack exactly what my top 3 are. It's the same top 3 that I've had for quite a few years now, and I don't see these 3 really leaving that. I could see maybe one of them going down, but these are generally going to remain the top 3, I think, till the end of time, unless a better Friday the 13th film comes out that trumps one of these. We'll see what happens. We're taking a look anyway at number 3. This one is probably going to offend some people. Probably not, though. But we're looking at number 3, Jason Lives, Friday the 13th Part 6. This one is one of the, again, funner entries. It's really the first one to acknowledge that, hey, this is a goofy franchise with a goofy-ass premise. And the guy making it, Tom McLaughlin, he knew exactly what he had on his hands. It's like, I can't take this serious. I mean, look at it. The first 5 films, really 3 of the 5, show this guy, and it's not that scary. It's just whatever. Anyway, he makes it into a nice, fun romp through the woods. I mean, you get the music of Alice Cooper to really help elevate this film. Harry Manfredini's score also, I think, really adds a nice feeling to it. Kind of going with that 30s and 40s horror feel. So it's a lot of fun there. It's a nice end cap to the Tommy Jarvis trilogy. But no, Jason Lives is, again, it's fun. That's really the best word I could use to describe Jason Lives, is fun. So, as fun and rewatchable as it is, man, you know that bitch is going to crack the top 3. In at the 3rd spot. Now, the runner-up for my favorite and personal best Friday the 13th film is the one that I think also can take home the trophy of being the one to start it all in some way, shape, or form. This is 1981 alumni. This is Friday the 13th Part 2. This one I have come to love more and more and more and more and more every time I watch it. I prefer, in a lot of ways, Jason with the sack as opposed to Jason with the hockey mask. There's something that fits that woodsman on a killing spree vibe more about the sack than the hockey mask does. Sure, he's clumsy, but you guys know that I cleared that up in my review. Good Real Hunting's Brad can also tell you why you also would be clumsy if you had to wear a fucking sack on your head, killing people in the woods with one eye hole nonetheless. Anyway, It's got a lot going for it. It does kind of what they did in the first film, but it does it in a much more enjoyable way, I feel. It's much more entertaining. The characters are a little more developed. We have a better third act, I think. Yeah, I think it has a better third act than the original film. That's something that these films actually all did pretty well. But yeah, Friday the 13th Part 2, man. It does so much right, and it puts in just enough effort to create a franchise going forward, where the first one was like, there's potential for more. But this one comes out, it's like, there's going to be more. Oh, there will be more. So, Friday the 13th Part 2, man. Number 2. And gee whiz, I wonder what number 1 could be. Well, if you guys have been keeping track at home, you guys know that the quintessential Friday the 13th film, and possibly quintessential slasher film, period, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, man, is taking home the gold medal for best Friday the 13th film. This one, again, guys, quintessential is the word I use for it. It has the best acting, I think, in the franchise. Some of the best kills. Some of the best atmosphere. Easily the best makeup work. I mean, you've got the return of Tom Savini for what was supposed to be the final chapter. See, it says right there, final chapter. They never made one after this bullshit. Anyway, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, is definitely become my favorite. It started low because it was one of the last ones that I watched, but every time I would watch it, it would jump. Like, it wouldn't move up a spot. It would move up a few spots. And it's been holding number 1 for, about 10 years now. And I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon, man. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. I don't know. I said I think everything I really have to say about it in the review. But you guys know all the reasons why it makes number 1. It almost beckons no explanation as to why, because everyone puts it at number 1. And that's not why I'm doing it. It's just that I really do objectively find it to be the best. It's the best presented. It's the most well-made film. It's probably the freakiest. You have Ted White, who's an amazing Jason Voorhees. Again, great kills, great characters. And if you took out the horror elements, man, you still have a great film. So that, I think, is one reason to really help elevate the final chapter. Is it could be an 80s teen comedy. It could be an 80s teen drama. But you put Jason Voorhees in there and you've got the perfect fucking Friday the 13th film, man. So the final chapter in at number 1. Yay! So anyway, guys, that was my Friday the 13th series ranking. One more time, I'm just going to show you here the ranking before and the ranking as it is. So here on the right side of y'all's screen, you will see the ranking that I just dropped for you guys. And then over here on the left side, you're going to see the ranking that I had going into it. Hell, these fuckers might even be labeled. Who knows? So that's how I looked at the series, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Where do you guys put them? Do you think I was wrong? Do you think I was right? Let me know what the hell you think. Was there any surprises? I'm sure there were. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like and share this video. And if you have not already, please go ahead and stab the hell out of that subscribe button. Again, let me know down below how you guys rank the series. Again, did I take any missteps? Just let me know exactly, guys, where you put them. If you hate the ranking, if you love the ranking, all that fun stuff. And be sure to check out the other rankings going on today and all the other Friday the 13th content that you will see today on Friday the 13th, that day. Also, be sure to check out all these social media links here. You've got the Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, Patreon, and the Stream Demons fan page over on Facebook. Be sure to check those out. And as always, guys, stay filthy.